after a quite stellar, unpredictable season. Saturday at Fuji means it's title deciding time for the Japanese Super Touring Championship, the inaugural national championship off the back of a global world championship after a regional European championship. And this could not have gone any better, and we haven't even reached the final round yet. But expect more mayhem. Fuji is known to be a lottery for the weather, let alone the races we've seen so far. And we are nice and tucked into one of the commentary boxes just underneath that Denso sign you see in the background there. Adrian Michael Rees here alongside Michael Swinnerton, looking down on a more sort of predictable grid that we've seen in the last 5 meetings. But Mercedes off the boil at the start, definitely on the boil in qualifying. However, it's Carl Schumacher who, as luck would have it, is not one of the 12 potential title candidates and might want to play blocker for Timo Lotra alongside him. And then it's the Japanese regulars with another, well, the title favourite essentially, Gordon Butcher, just has to play it safe and sensible and be ahead of anyone else. Swinny, it's been emotional, but we've got another 2 races to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not wrong. Qualifying was super interesting to watch yesterday on the Friday. Butcher, as you rightly said, is leading the championship as it stands right now. He has got 3 points to his name over Hideo Muto. Hideo Muto and the Sister Genesis are all the way down outside the top 10. If they want to make their start on this championship, on this inaugural season, they've got a lot of work to do from 14th and 16th on the grid here.
And there's no better way to find out than watching it on the stream right now. Clear skies, but I am keeping tabs on the weather rather than the radar. Off they go, 4-wheel drive dominance in effect there. Narusai with a flying start to swamp the Hondas in the top 6. But it is a Mercedes 1-2 Butcher already up to 3rd. The swarm heads towards Coca-Cola. As well, Fuji still looks almost a traditional form all the way through the hairpin coming up. Obviously made wider for Formula 1 safety standards back in the mid-2000s. Katayama down the inside of the hairpin on Suzuki. Suzuki still 6th, managed to catch up ahead of Narusai. Honda's power in effect there. Lotra trying to give Schumacher the hurry up as they go through 300R. On the way to Dunlop, and this time by, it is the full F1 World Endurance Championship chicane variant of Dunlop Corner. Lotra down the inside, but is Schumacher going to behave himself? There we go. That's all Schumacher needs to do now is play blocker, but Butcher is still in close attendance.
Yeah, we know these Mercs are good off the line, and they prove that again, getting a good start, keeping the 1st and 2nd positions here. I'm kind of expecting Suzuki to maybe get himself past Nakano at the very least. We know the Honda's good in a straight line, plus it can have odd bursts of speed at random points during the race. Butcher, I think, just needs to hold station right now in 3rd place and play it safe, essentially, and he can take that title home with him.
Thanks to the unpredictability of the whole season, it now becomes a bit more predictable. However, Fujiwara, Ford 4-wheel drive power, finally getting in the right frame of mind for points. Winterbottom down the inside of one of the Subarus there, and Jack Scaife.
Muto all the way down in 14th. He's not going to retain 2nd in the standings if he stays here. On the outside of turn 2, he's just swamped in traffic right now.
Still I think the sensible midfield swarm, but obviously these Genesises binned it in qualifying. They needed to be up at the front.
Yeah, they've been
despite
chasing
the
their setup
appearances.
all weekend. These cars have not been happy, apparently. They just can't get the balance in amount of downforce and mechanical grip, and then trading that off for top speed because it's very crucial round here. Yeah, they've just been going backwards and forwards with themselves, and
In
this is where
tandem now, Winterbottom and Muto right there, being sort of sandwiched by the two Subarus as well. They haven't been very sort of in the same ballpark as the Genesis squad then, and getting wins in. Maybe not as much as the Genesis, Je ne sais quoi. Down the inside goes Jack Scaife again, this time on Rustad.
We'll see if Scaife can also have a burst of speed early on in this race and get himself through the traffic and further up into the points. Because whilst these two Genesis cars are in the points, they're outside the top 10. It's not enough. Not with Butcher in third, that's for sure.
First flying lap, Suzuki with a 150.001.
Just as I expected, Suzuki's got himself past Nakano. Katayama now gets herself past Nakano, so the Mitsubishi, whilst has the speed, Nakano knows his way around this track. He's put on a very good qualifying effort. Unfortunately, I think that car is going to start losing out to the manufacturer entries around it.
Yeah, it is deceptively enough a privateer outfit, even though they could also be perceived to be the works team. Fujiwara on a flyer up to 8th.
Yeah, after starting somewhere around 13th. He's doing well with that new car. I look forward to seeing what they can do with that car next season. They have confirmed it's just going to be a single car entry with Fujiwara again, so they're not expanding, which I think is possibly smart. It means they can focus all their attention on developing this one car and making it as fast as they can go.
Sorry. Nakano down to 6th, Katayama there 5th.
Suzuki looks like he wants to get a podium here. Looking racy.
Butcher could be wise to keep it sensible and let Suzuki by. It's only one or 2 points difference there. And in terms of the fastest lap point as well, Suzuki's already ahead of Butcher in this round, so I don't think that's going to make too much of a swing or a dividend against Butcher's title contention there, as long as the others are not there or thereabouts either.
Yeah, I mean, between these two cars specifically, there's a 47-point difference, so Butcher can afford to let Suzuki have the fastest lap. Oh, and let him have a dive into turn 1, apparently.
There we go.
He's going to let that one pay off. Butcher might come back at him here through the next corner. He's got the preferred line.
Might not be wise.
No, he's going to back out of it and let it go. So the Honda now up to third.
Maybe that was as calculated and as racing as it could be without causing too much damage, and thankfully they're still heading in the right direction in the same lane of Fuji's racing line. Narusei still 7th. These Toyotas were expected to do so much more and were caught out by these other manufacturer efforts, and in fact the privateer efforts early on. We are surprised to see how well some of these teams have performed since the start. We're also surprised to see how poor some of the teams that started off so well at the start of the season. You're not seeing them this time by, because they are scraping into the points, and that's the Chaser Motorsports team, which are, well, were 15th at some point, but there's Kazuki Ide, there's Anthony Ingram after a bad qualifying, and Ellen Frenson. Well, the less said about the race win at high speed ring, the better, if this is anything to go by. But obviously, still braving out and learning more about Season 2, whatever car she's in. Suzuki closing in on the two Silver Arrows.
Yeah, they're not, third and fourth are not letting the two Mercs get away too far into the lead. They've got to bit of daylight between them and the Honda, although he closes that up through turn 1. He's got a much tighter line than the other cars around him, and it's paying off for him currently. He can hold the apex speed.
We've just clocked Muto with the fastest lap, by the way, but still in the mid-pack for Muto. Not enough of a gain with the 2 extra points for that fastest lap.
I mean, it's a contribution nonetheless, but yeah, he's going to have to start overtaking cars if he wants to get serious about this.
This could get spicy. Lotterer, Schumacher, Suzuki and Butcher is your top 4 through the hairpin. Katayama closing in perhaps.
She's not far off. She's definitely broken away from Nakano, who has got Naruse behind him. Naruse hasn't found a way past yet. Doesn't really look to be too threatening.
This will be more power to Fujiwara's elbow on the Ford team. If they get a position on Naruse in the works outfit Toyota, this is real David and Goliath stuff in 7th and 8th place. Even if it's a newer car for them, not the oldest Honda in the franchise. Thankfully that's been put into a museum now, and he's still going, not letting that one go. Muto with the bottom into the top 10 finally.
Yep, they've got themselves around the Subaru and the FedEx sponsored Mazda there of Nakajima, so they are making their way through the traffic, but laps are starting to tick off. They've got to get a wriggle on. And the more they get through the traffic, the harder it's going to become, because they're now chasing the top 8 here, who have been noticeably faster than everybody else so far.
And there's Muto still with the fastest lap from the lap prior, but a Winterbottom in front could be holding. That's definitely holding Muto up. This duo right now, wobble on for the pair of them.
Careful, lads. Just because we're in Japan doesn't mean you need to go tandem drifting.
Naruse now fending off Fujiwara whilst trying to get on Nakano's case.
Yeah, Naruse's had a very up and down season. He won the very first race round here, and hasn't really managed to replicate it since.
Almost a big hurry up from Fujiwara then in the hairpin.
Yeah, he's had some very forgettable results so far this season, so something might need to be done at that team. Naruse isn't going anywhere. He's been factory Toyota since the day he was born, so he's certainly not going anywhere.
And I just saw Fujiwara dive down the inside of Dunlop, but they're still side by side through the chicane.
There he goes.
Well. Yuasa team will be delighted that that's even happened. And gaining ground of these two Genesis.
If Naruse's got any sense, he's going to be in full-on defensive block mode because of the 2 cars behind him. They're the exact 2 cars that need to be kept away from his teammate.
Whilst that's happened, Suzuki up to 2nd.
Yes, he managed to send a dive bomb on Schumacher into the chicane. I clocked it in the corner of my eye, in the corner of the camera shot, whilst we were looking at other things.
I had my eye on the underdog, I do apologise. Butcher still 4th. Here's the onboard into Daiichi, turn 1.
Concertina effect, they all close up, they're all going to spread out again.
Second half of the race coming up.
And here goes Fujiwara and Nakano. He is not wasting any time. After overtaking quite a few manufacturer entries, he's now overtaking Nakano, so he is now the lead privateer in 6th place. This is going to net him a bunch of points.
The team now breathing into paper bags. That's how hyperventilated they are right now. This is the highest above sea level in the race that they've ever been.
The crazy thing is that they might net enough points here to actually not finish last in the Privateer Teams Championship.
Which is where they expected to be with that museum piece Honda. Down the inside in defence goes Naruse, but Winterbottom on the switchback, allowing Muto to gain ground perhaps, but Naruse being defensive as possible. Wasn't enough for Winterbottom though. Worked that one out.
Yeah.
But then
You can tell there's no team orders going on here at the Genesis team because the cars are currently the wrong way round. And Winterbottom has shown no signs of letting his teammate past. And they're both in contention, so it makes sense.
Bit of cloud cover at the other end of this long straight.
This is where, in theory, the Genesis should have an advantage. It's quite an aerodynamically slippy car, good in a straight line. Plus, it's got 5 million gears in that strange gearbox of it, so it can just keep shifting and keep accelerating. Ooh, pushes Naruse out the way.
Moto
Not
is a
playing
little bit
games.
peeved. Unless Winterbottom is playing the long game and making sure that by the time they are in higher ground in the points, then step into gear, playing the team game, perhaps.
Entirely possible.
Has that message been given to Moto before the start of the race? It is beginning to look a little bit dreich.
Meccano continuing his drop off.
Schumacher down to 5th.
And Suzuki's leading, so we've missed something going on here.
Whoops.
The Honda's pulling away. Butcher's got himself, up to 3rd.
I wonder if this is the weather, because Fujiwara and the Yuasa team are going to be... wow, I'm seeing surface changes at that chicane hairpin.
I don't know if there's any water falling from the sky yet, but at the very least the cloud cover has made the track temperature a lot colder, which possibly caught Schumacher out. Maybe he went deep into a corner and lost some places. Either way, this is the current order of things.
Meanwhile, Butcher still 3rd, no change there. Katayama closing in. And is Fujiwara.
Winterbottom's got himself past Nakano, so the Genesis is coming. Evidently, Lotterer might have been a bit of a cork in a bottle here, because Suzuki pulling away a bit here now.
Here's news. Fujiwara, fastest lap, 2 more points in the bag. They are definitely not going to be last in the championship of privateers, at least. And might not even be last in the Drivers' Championship as well.
Muto now past Nakano, so the 2 Genesis cars now firmly in the top 10 in the better end of the point spectrum.
Just to keep record here, Fujiwara is definitely last with 15 points, a massive gain since the first half of the season when they scored none. But this could be their biggest gain yet, and if Anna de Grassi, who I'm assuming is still outside the top 15. There we go. This means that she's going to have a work cut out. Ingram still 17th. That's going to be, I think, unless they've got a wake-up call coming in from the team, they're going to be outside the points at the end of the race. We're still seeing the top 5 from the onboard of Schumacher. We might even see the top 10 from the rear view of... There we go.
There's a face full of Ford, at least.
And wow, yes. And then a face full of 2 Genesis as well. Moved up to 8th. Too little, too late.
Well, there's still race 2 to go. They could capitalise on the reverse grid, take a win, and a fastest lap. I don't know if that would seal the deal at the last possible second. And here goes Fujiwara on Schumacher.
We're laughing at how amazing this is. This isn't a joke. Please take that, if you take that as seriously as you will, Team Yuasa. This is excellent, beyond excellent and impressive performance from a team that just expected to be using this championship as a learning exercise for the older car. Decided, you know what, let's go for this 4-wheel drive Ford and see what happens, and boy are they seeing what happens.
Well, this is one hell of a learning exercise, because they're still learning. They're just going to learn a lot very quickly with this kind of result.
I think the lesson is, why didn't we come in with this in the first place? We've said it before, we know why, but hindsight is such a great educator.
Yeah, if they'd just started
There's
working
your
on
top
that car,
10
maybe
in the same shot.
if they'd started working on that car maybe 2 months earlier than they actually did, this could have been a very different season for them. But hey ho, they can make it all work in season 2.
Boy, is he making it work right now. Katayama, brace yourself, girl. And I did not expect the top 10 to be in the same shot with almost 3 laps to go.
Nakano now in 10th, so if he stays there, of course, he will get pole position for race 2. I think it's possible. I think he could do it. This is where his speed kind of puts him in the grand scheme of things, though Naruse could take that off him and be the Toyota Thorn in Genesis's side if he nicks pole for race 2.
Yeah, I was almost careful to say that as well. Now the cloud cover, thankfully, has not threatened any raindrops, but Lotterer now threatening to get the lead back from Suzuki. Butcher still third, also threatening. There's the power of the Toyota.
This is
Finally
what
in
I
evidence.
was slightly worried about. Now the cloud cover has thinned a little bit, the track temperature is going to warm up a little bit, which in theory should play into the hands of these Mercedes-Benzes here. And I wonder if Suzuki, as we're getting to the ending stages of this race, has he burnt out his front tyres getting there? Is he now going to be on the struggle bus? So far he's got enough of a gap to prevent any dive bombs, but I wouldn't say a healthy gap to be complacent in his lead. He just needs to hope that Butcher and Lotter really get into the weeds fighting each other and allowing him to escape up the road, but that's not happening so far.
5 different manufacturers in the top 5, 2 of them from foreign land, so to speak. 2 of the drivers from outside Japan. Butcher, a Toyota favourite. Evident in the Worlds. Winterbottom and Muto still playing hardball. So hopefully if they get past Carl Schumacher, then do the switcheroo. But Takahashi in that Subaru is also giving them a big wake-up call as well.
Yeah, he's done well to get through the traffic because he also had a horrible time in qualifying.
And with this, we'll see who has, if any, claimed the fastest lap. Not of the front runners, the back runners, the slow runners. I wonder if they'll. I doubt it. If they've given up this far, I don't think they're going to be putting anything fast in now.
I think, not to discredit him, because obviously that Ford is going very, very well, but I think Fujiwara's, yeah, case in point, I think Fujiwara's fastest lap was in part thanks to some slipstreaming going down the main straight there.
Proof enough that he was on a flyer and still is on a flyer. Hairpin, here we go, down the inside of Katayama.
Katayama hanging tough.
Not,
kept the momentum up around the outside there. Don't know if she's going to be able to defend it though. She will have the preferred line into the chicane.
Sealed the deal.
Schumacher still 6th place.
Winterbottom with a gap on Muto. So things are ironing themselves out for race 2 with a lap and a half of goodness to go.
There goes Winterbottom around Schumacher. Schumacher got a wiggle on in the middle of the part of the chicane there. Lost grip. Winterbottom was able to capitalise. So it's now Muto's turn to overtake the Mercedes.
But is Takahashi going to get that move on first? Still
he does have to
very close at the front. Top 9. Well, the entirety of the front and midfield in the same shot there.
We essentially have every points-paying finish in one line.
In one shot.
In one big stream of cars.
Here comes the crocodile one more time in the dry.
And the sun's come out. Lotterer has a run into turn 1. Not going to make anything of it though.
Still defended well though, if Lotterer was right up the back of that Honda. Fujiwara in 4th. Could this be a podium for that team? They have been smiling from ear to ear since the start of the race. Everything has come up Millhouse for this team. One of the better underdog tales from when they were even scraping into the points with that elder statesman Honda. This will be, whatever happens, this is the biggest thing that's happened to that team. And icing on the cake if they get on the podium. Not that they need it.
Winterbottom here looking dangerous up against Katayama. Wants that top 5, sends it. Too wide through the chicane. That was actually nice and clean from the pair of them.
Okay, so I guess the message wasn't to allow Muto to do better. Here comes Fujiwara and Butcher. I wonder if this is what the season 2 is going to look like as far as titles are concerned.
Possibly. Now this is where Butcher actually does need to defend, because the two Genesis cars have now got themselves far enough up the grid that he needs to be careful about that.
Yeah. Plenty of space. Suzuki defended well, got the win. I was thinking of my early days myself there. No, I haven't. Honda get another win in the bag. Mercedes will be scratching their heads. Butcher safe in the knowledge that there's one more to go. Keep it sensible. Title his. Muto should have tried harder, and perhaps in qualifying that was the case. There's your points paying finishers. Ingram with a late run, too little too late. Chaser have just been off the boil since the mid-season, it must be said, even if their car looks a little bit more populated with sponsors since race 1. And then the rest of them trickle in. And there's more this Saturday afternoon. Well then, I expected that to be a mild one. To a degree, yes it was, because the only overtakes were still in the midfield, and the ones that we missed, obviously, we're kicking ourselves for that. Wow, Nomura, okay, applauded across the line there. Plum last, but they'll be happy with their season overall. Maybe not the final couple of wins there. Yeah, Sweeney, well, mild compared to the rest of the season, but we got some action in, especially that Ford. Not on the podium, but that is the best, that's the happiest they've ever been.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest catalyst there was the cloud cover that came in halfway through the race and then disappeared again. That was what paid the difference there, because, as I say, it affected track temperature, and that really affects tyre temperature and so on and so forth. Several knock-on effects happen. Thus, advantage Honda, advantage Ford, disadvantage Mercedes. However, Butcher with a 3rd place. It really looks like we're going to see car number 4 win this Japanese championship, which would be interesting. As a quick update, the Euros have already finished, and Gianni Liuzzi in Hyundai number 4
yes.
has won
That was
this
continuity we missed out from the Worlds, wasn't it? Because we were at the Worlds for the Brands Hatch final round of the Euros.
Yes.
Liuzzi, Hyundai, not Genesis, managed to get what they so rightly deserved.
Yeah, Liuzzi went on a very late season charge and won several races in a row, including getting doubles on multiple weekends. So hats off to him, hats off to that team. But our attention is here. We shall see what they do next race.
Speaking of the Euros, you'll see the onboards again, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up Liuzzi's movements throughout that season. But yeah, we're going for a well-earned break. We're going to go back into the crowd again, see what sort of fan art and fan gear will be there. We'll bring our translator with us this time, honest. But yeah, we can't wait for it. Title inbound. On behalf of Michael Swinnerton, this is Adrian Michael Rees. Good racing, everyone.